Today's video is the July 2nd garden. Now, I've been doing videos on this table and the plants that I have put on it. I'll go over them right quick. The first thing I want to point out though is what an insect problem I'm already having, even though I've been pulling them off, picking them off of this table. That's why I left them on this table, and I wanted them to get big. The cucumbers are just totally under attack, just sitting right here on this table. So I put them in larger pots so they would grow up bigger, so that they would have a fighting chance once I put them out to actually make a crop before the insects do them in. And this particular plant, even though it has been eaten, it's got a bad leaf there, but it's already got tendrils ready to run up the trellis. And these here are yellow squash, and they are really looking nice. They're making buds. They're ready to plant into the ground, and I'm going to do that now. And then the next thing that I've got are 6 tomato plants that I cloned by picking the suckers from. These were the early girls here, and so there's 3 early girl plants. These 2 are doing really good. This one's still got a ways to go. Looks like it's been eaten by something too right there, but anyway. And then over here are the better boys, and they're doing really nice also. All 3 of them look really good, and they're ready to go into the ground. So I'm going to do that. And then I've got 4 zucchini plants, and they are once again doing very, very nice. But as you can see, I pulled a worm off of this one that was just eating it up. So the bugs are out here. I've already lost all my other squash plants to the bugs. But anyway, I'm ready for my second garden, and we're gonna get these in the ground, and I'll show you how. Okay, so the plan is we're gonna plant 4 cucumber plants, the 4 biggest, nicest ones, right here on this. Is probably 6 or 8 feet of trellis. And for fertilizer, I'm going to use this new fertilizer I found. I can't believe it's chicken manure compost, and I don't know if this is any good or not. It looks good, it reads good, and I'm going to do a test on it. It says it's 0.75, 0.95, and then 0.30 for the 3 nitrogen, phosphate, and potash. So we'll see. It's also got 2.5% calcium, is what they say. So it's chicken compost, and we're going to try that on this July garden. So here's the first plant that I'm planting, and as you see, it's a very nice Asian cucumber plant, and it's I'm gonna plant it so deep that these leaves here are going to be right at the very, very ground level. So I'm going to go ahead and get that planted, and I've got to dig a big hole that's twice as wide as this pot and as deep enough to put the cotyledon leaves down all the way to the ground. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it as close as we can to the trellis. Okay, so I've got the hole dug, and we can see that it's really nice and deep and wide, and I got all the way down to the clay. I'm not sure how that's going to show on the camera, but this is clay, and I don't want to put that back in the hole. Now, what you want to do when you're taking a plant this big and transplanting it, one, you've got to plant it in the evening and give it a whole night before it gets exposed to the July sun. The second thing you've got to do is you've got to try to make it get as little root shock as possible. And I'm going to show you the roots that are in this big pot. I'm pretty sure they're coming all the way to the edge and the bottom. And so we're going to drop it in there. But first, we're going to prepare the mixture. Now, if anybody watched me plant these, you know I used a very fertile soil that already has some cow manure, and already had some 10-10-10 in there. And so I'm not going to put any more 10-10-10 or any kind of fertilizer except for this chicken manure in the hole. Not yet. Now, once they've had about a week, I'll probably top dress them with 10-10-10 again, because I want these plants to grow as fast as they can and start producing before the insects take them. So that's the plant. And what I'm going to do, of course, I'll go ahead and take this out of the hole now, and you can see what we're going to do in the hole is I'm going to take some of this fertile soil from here, this not the clay soil, and I'm going to put a bunch of it in the hole, about half full. That weed won't hurt anything. So this is where I had another crop growing over here. There's a nice little earthworm. All right, I've got it about half full. Then I'm going to put 2 scoops of this chicken compost in there. And once again, you don't want to put too much fertilizer or anything when you transplant one, because the whole idea is to keep from having a lot of root shock, because a big plant like this will shock very, very easily. Okay, I'm mixing that up very good. And then I'm going to bring it all the way around to the edges of this hole and leave the middle to drop the plant in, like that. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the water, and I'm not going to fill the hole completely up, but I'm going to make sure that the roots go right into some water. That's enough, like that. And then I'm going to take the mud that I washed down there and pull it back up to the side. All right, we are ready for transplanting. You have to be careful not to break your plant. And we're going to dump it out. And now we can see the roots all the way around. And there's the plant. Now we're going to drop it down in the hole. Then we're just going to pull good soil all the way back around and fill that hole up. We're going to water it again. Now I can use some of this old soil and just kind of make a little moat around the entire thing, so that when I do water, I can keep more of the water up there near the plant. I still want a mound around the plant. And now I'm going to water it again very gently. so you can see the water is puddling now, but it's not puddling and touching the stem. And that's very important. So you want a little moat around it if you can, so that when you water, the water will soak in, but you don't want it actually puddling on the stem, because that'll cause stem rot. And there we have it, folks. The first cucumber plant for the July garden is planted. Okay, I brought you back right quick just to show you how these look after I planted these three before I mulched them. And there they are. You can see the water is puddling but not touching the stem. So always trying to keep the interest of the viewers in mind. I've got the great big zucchini plants that I'm going to put in. Two of these over here in this area, right next to the cucumbers that I just finished. So let's take a look at the cucumbers. And they're looking fine. I think they're going to be nice and happy. And in just a day or two, this tendril here will come on out and it should reach that fence, and it'll start climbing the fence. And this one's got tendril started. This one's a little behind, and that one also is. But anyway, we're going to come back and we're going to look at this huge zucchini plant in the pot. Now, I got them big like this on purpose so that when I put them in, it's only going to take a couple of weeks, hopefully, until they start blooming. And that way then they're going to have a good chance to grow before the bugs can take them over. Now, after a day or two, I'll come out here and I will dust them with 7 dust, simply because there's no fruit on them yet, and you have to do something to keep the bugs off of them. As I've already shown earlier, the bugs have already hit these things. Even though I had them up on the table and I was hand picking them off, they'd come in at night and feast. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And now I'm going to drop one down into here and cover it up, and we'll take a look at the root system on it. Let's see if we can see this. I have to be real careful with a big plant like this taking it out, because it can actually break. The stem can break off. So I'm going to try to get it. There we go. And here's the roots on this thing, and they are looking just fine. It's a very, very healthy specimen. We're going to drop it right down in the hole. There we go. Oh, that's perfect. Perfectly sized hole. Now I'm going to get the shovel and I'm going to put some good topsoil on it. Not this clay soil, but topsoil from over here. Okay. All right, and now it's ready for the mulch. Okay, folks, so now I've got them mulched, and these are the big zucchini plants that I grew in the pots. Grew it in this pot here. So here's the second one. So they're all nice and mulched, and you would never know that this is a one-day transplant here. Actually, maybe 15 minutes transplanted. You would never know that just to look at them. They look nice and happy. I'm planting them in the evening, so they'll get plenty of time to adjust to their new accommodations. And then in the morning, I'm gonna come back out here and water them again, just to make sure. And then I'm gonna go ahead now and plant some of the tomatoes that I cloned. And so that's the next part of the video, is planting the cloned tomatoes. So we'll go ahead and get that done. Okay folks, so now we're doing the tomatoes, and these are the cloned tomatoes, and this is a Better Boy tomato plant. Now what I'm going to do is show you how the roots grew on this one, and of course I'll go ahead and put all the other ones in, but we're going to go ahead and do this one. I'll show you what I do. So I'm looking to see where any leaders may have come out, and these bottom leaves now I'm going to go ahead and take off because we're going to plant below those leaves. So that one's coming off and that one's coming off, and then we're just going to leave the rest of the plant and plant it right to here. Okay, and then there may be some leaders coming out here. There's the top of it. The leaves are curled because it's been sitting on the table growing, but it has just been so extremely hot. It got up to about 95 today, and it stressed the plants. So here's the first one, and then here's the second one, and it's even more healthy. I'm once again going to take off this bottom leaf. I'm going to take off this bottom leaf, and I'm going to take off this bottom leaf. But there's a little leader coming out there, there's one coming out there, and here's the top of the plant. So they look pretty bad right now because they are stressed from all the heat. Even though I watered them twice today, you can probably see just how dry the soil looks there. So anyway, let's go ahead and let's check the root structure out now on these. And there you go. The whole thing is one big root. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just drop it down in the hole like so. There's already some cow manure in there, and then I'm just going to fill that up completely and mound the dirt up around it all the way up to right here. And there we go. I'll probably do a better job cleaning it up when I finish. So what I did was I planted my July garden in several different places around my gardens, and the reason is, of course, because of the bug problem. I think they've got a better chance of surviving kind of if I separate them. So you'll see here is zucchini plant number 3, and I mean, he is a beauty, or maybe she is a beauty. But anyway, you can already see buds down there, and it's looking very nice. Here's number 4. Same thing, already got some buds showing, and so it's very nice. Then I've got 4 cucumbers over here, and they're just now making the tendrils to reach out and grab the trellis. There's 1, here's 2, he hasn't got any tendrils yet. Here's number 3, and here's its first tendril. It's still a little short. I see the next one's coming. Sometimes you can take a tendril like this and you can peel it out, and if it's long enough, you can help the plant like this. You can help the plant to reach for the trellis. And that's what I'm doing right here. A little harder with the camera on, but we got it. So there, now he has reached the fence, and let's see if this other one, there you go. So now we've got that one on the trellis. This one all by itself, this is the best one, has already got 2 tendrils on the fence, so it's ready to go. The eggplants are looking very nice here and mulched and ready to go, and this eggplant here has got some beautiful flowers, so it'll be making for the rest of the season. But anyway, back to the July garden. Now I've got 3 cucumbers over here, and they were 3 of the weaker ones, but they're looking really nice in their new home here. And you can see where they're starting new growth coming out, all mulched and ready. Here's the tomatoes. This is the early girls, and they suffered a little bit on that table while I was waiting to transplant them. Remember, these are the ones that were cloned, but you can see that growth area right there and right there. So I think now that they're planted in the ground and mulched, they're going to do fine. This one is an early girl, and it's the least of all of them, but that's why I plant 3, just to make sure that usually 2 at least will survive. Then here, this is Better Boys. That's 1 here, coming up to here, and then this is number 2. These are still cloned now. They were cloned from suckers. You can see where the new growth is coming out right here. And then number 3 has got new growth coming out here, and that leaf looks very nice and healthy. And then there's new growth coming out here, so it looks like it's going to do fine. You go ahead and help it out a little bit there. Okay, so that is the tomato garden, and we're going back to the last place, and these are the yellow squash, and they are looking best of all. You can see these have beautiful buds and leaves coming out, and just looks great. And then there's 1, there's 2, that's the weakest one. Here's 3, and you can see the buds down there. And then here's 4. And number 5 is here. And so we'll just take one quick look at the entire yellow squash garden here. And there it is. And it's down here next to the taro. And okay, so that is it, folks, for the July garden. It's all planted. It all looks very nice. And the hope is that it will come up and it will make produce very fast. And that's why I let the plants get so big before I throw them out here, because now that they're out here, the bugs can just immediately come into them and chew them up. I'm gonna have my eyes on them. Probably use a little 7 powder on the base once the base gets a little higher. But anyway, we'll be watching out for the bugs. We're going to try to get another crop. Today is July the 14th, and hopefully in 2 weeks I'll start picking squash off of these. So we'll see how this comes out, and make sure you subscribe. And if you subscribe, you get a notification from YouTube that I've got a new video out when I'm showing if these made squash or not. And that's videos coming up, but I've got a lot more content coming up too. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you on the next video.